While decades after his survivors first came forward, pedophile priest Lawrence Hecker will now spend the rest of his days behind bars. Today, he was sentenced to life in prison after the judge overseeing the case heard from 3 of his victims. Alyssa was in the emotional courtroom today and explains how this final chapter for Hecker is just the beginning for his survivors.
I'm not certain he was capable of saying anything. He's dying. He's 94 years old.
Even though Lawrence Hecker is frail and stayed pretty quiet at his sentencing hearing Wednesday, that didn't stop his survivors from sharing the trauma he put them through when they were just boys. After an hour of tears, shaking, and deep breaths, Hecker was sentenced to life in prison.
I am in awe of the courage that it took for these boys, now men, some fathers, some grandfathers, to tell their truth.
Earlier this month, Hecker unexpectedly pled guilty to all charges: aggravated rape, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated crime against nature, and theft for suffocating a teenage boy until he was unconscious and raping him in 1975. Hecker's lawyer says his plea was him taking responsibility.
He admitted to some very horrible crimes. He took responsibility for that.
But District Attorney Jason Williams still celebrated Wednesday's final step for Hecker.
And I think he'll live with it the rest of however many days or weeks he gets. He is a convicted predator and rapist, and he will live out the rest of his days, hopefully, in Angola State Penitentiary.
Even though Hecker was sentenced to life in prison, some say this wasn't enough justice considering his age and the state of his health.
Even though this is a very final decision, you can ask them. They won't tell you that they feel a sense of justice.
Absolutely not. This man should have been in jail immediately following all of his crimes. And others who covered it up, shuffled him around, should be sitting next to him. So no, there's not been enough justice, but I'm glad that we got some.
And the survivors agree. In a statement through his lawyer, the unnamed survivor in the case said Archbishop Gregory Amen has said he wants to walk with the survivors and says Amen had the perfect chance to do so today, but didn't show up. He says in part, quote, Amen's words are hollow and false. Amen should have been sitting right there next to Hecker. In a statement to WWL Louisiana, Archbishop Amen said in part, quote, it is our hope and prayer that the survivors of abuse perpetrated by Lawrence Hecker have some closure and some sense of peace in his sentencing.
And that he is getting this life sentence at least says to family members, fellow congregants, that I was telling the truth all these years, and the world can believe them. And I think that has a measure of justice that is very impactful.
And for anyone who's ever been abused. Alyssa Curtis, WWL Louisiana.
It's unclear where Hecker will serve his sentence. DA Williams says he'll ask for Hecker to be placed at Angola. The Department of Corrections tells us they will not disclose an inmate's assignment until he's been placed at the prison.